This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No. Y'all,
This
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday. So disappointed in our friend Rob over here. We got a Tom Brady story coming up, and he's all like, got a big chest about it. He's put himself, there you go. There's Rob. He knows what I'm talking about, Rob. He knows what I'm talking about. All right, let's get
clue
to
us in.
No, I can't. Maybe for another time. All right, welcome to DBL. Jonas and Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner have called it quits after 4 years of marriage. They have 2 young daughters together, and some tabloids reported Sophie, who is 27, felt trapped in the marriage and likes to party. Anyone else get that song in their head? We like to party. Nobody? Okay.
Wow.
And thanks, Michael Dean. And TMZ said Joe caught Sophie on the Ring camera doing something that made him realize the marriage was over. They released a joint statement saying, although they are, quote, many speculative narratives as to why they are separating, this is a united decision. Al, you have any speculation of who's on that Ring camera or if it's even true?
I think it's true. I think it's true because TMZ reported it, and TMZ is an outlet. It's not like a rando. TMZ, if they report something wrong, can be sued for it. So they have a financial incentive to get things correct. I don't know how they got a hold of it. I don't know what he saw, but it does strike me to say you saw something and you knew that the marriage was over. What did you see? Because
I don't
Erica,
know.
Erica, isn't that crazy? How many people do you think get caught on Ring cameras in 2023? People have nanny cams. People have cameras for their dogs when they're out of town. Britney Spears allegedly was caught. There's cameras everywhere inside your house and out. So I do think a lot of things that people don't want to be seen doing are probably caught more than they were in 1995. And it's possible.
Yeah, but I think that 2 different things can be true. I think that maybe, let's say the Ring camera thing is true. Maybe that just was a confirmation that they can't be together right now, or they shouldn't be together right now. I don't even know if it would necessarily have to be anything super scandalous. If you look at the body language of most times that we see Joe and Sophie together, he looked tired. She looked like she is getting her, she's getting her sales. Like, there's a lot of body language that's happening here. I don't know. I feel like she was very young, very young when they first got together. She's like 20 years old. They have 2 kids. She's like 27, and she was at the height of her career. So it's like she decided to live this domestic life and follow him all around.
I think Erica just hit the nail on the head, because Joe Jonas has had a very long career, and he's ready to settle down. He's said that for a long time. He also comes from a religious background where he just wants that traditional family. I think for her, she is just now at the height of her fame. They've also had 2 kids under 2. You've had 2 kids under 2. That apparently, according to parenting experts, that increases your likelihood of getting in a divorce. The stress, being tired. What was it like with having 2 young? I mean, now Leighton just turned 5. Lawson is almost 7. What was it like, though, when they were 2 under 2?
Yeah, they're 23 months apart, but I liked it. Because I just saw the future. They're going to be best friends, and right now they're best friends.
But was it hard?
They look after each other. Of course, any amount of children are hard. I don't necessarily believe in the 2 under 2 theory.
I could see that. I'll tell you one thing that I think we're not really paying a lot of attention to, but I've kind of lived it, is the distance. The distance, these are 2 famous people. How do you think they've spent 2 weeks straight in a room, in a house together? I mean, you think about how big Game of Thrones were and how big the Jonas Brothers were. I mean, they're probably gone all the time. And distance, I know they say it makes the heart grow fonder, but it also makes you question things. And who's this person? And why are they interrupting my routine? I was supposed to do this, but Joe's back home, so I guess we have to have it. It becomes animosity. And I think all these things for 2 young people is too much.
Yeah, I get all that, because 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? I just want to know what's on that Ring camera, if there's a Ring camera.
Wow. I think it wouldn't have come out of nowhere. Ring camera is very specific.
I just don't know how they get that. Well, I'm sure we'll check back in later in the week. All right, Oprah and The Rock are getting slammed online after they posted a video asking people to help donate to the Maui relief effort. So The duo pitched in $10 million to kickstart the People's Fund of Maui that they say will be given directly to the victims of the wildfire. But some people didn't appreciate the stars asking for money when their combined net worth is close to $3 billion. Some comments called out their wealth and said it's not cool to ask, quote, poor people to donate their fund. A lot of people are upset about them. I mean, what do you want them to do? They donated money to this effort themselves.
Well, apparently it wasn't enough.
But what do they want them to buy a new island?
I don't understand. Anytime people make this type of argument, like you shouldn't be asking us for money. Well, they're not asking for money. They're setting up a fund that's going directly, which was the call for the need in the very beginning, going directly to the people of Maui so that they could get their immediate needs met. They are putting this into action. They've put their money behind it. They've also are probably considered a very reliable source in terms of someone who's not going to run away with the money. So it makes sense that they would put something like that together. People always think, why don't they just solve the whole issue? Okay, but then when something happens with the whales, or something happens with the birds, or something happens with children, or something happens over here, well, they've spent all of their money on the thing that you said right in that moment they have to spend all their money on. So who's going to help with the whales and the birds and the children? Who, Jeff?
I don't know. That was a lot of examples.
I don't know. I just don't. I believe they donated a combined $10 million. And
that's not enough.
That's not. So that's where we are.
It's crazy.
And this is going to sound harsh. Got to stop talking to your fans. You have to. No, those two people have donated more money. Their fans never ask, well, did J.P. Morgan donate any? Did Jerry Jones?
Got pushed back,
How many billionaires are on the planet, Sam? And why is it those two? Because those two actually tried to step up and help. So, if that's the deal, how many times has The Rock entertained your kids while you were upstairs getting ready? How many times did Oprah talk to you? All these people have helped you.
But there's a lot of people.
Them?
There's a lot of people. Yes, people. I would say 20% of people attack them. If you look at the comments, majority of the people
I can't because they had to turn the comments off.
Okay, well, in the beginning, it was thank you, I donated. Thank you, I donated. We forgot how much reach both of those actors or both of those celebrities have. So because of their reach, so many normal, like-minded people that are reciprocal and altruistic, they actually donated. And thank God for The Rock and Oprah for talking to their fans because that increased the donation. Sorry, I know we have another story to get to.
Reciprocal and altruistic.
Yeah.
My therapist.
All right.
If you
Let's
love
sneak this last one in. Tom Brady is being called out for having Botox. Tom is featured in a new ad on the NFL's Instagram page, but a lot of people online commented that the former quarterback looked a little altruistic. No, he looked like he had some Botox done, calling him Botox Brady. Here's Tom at the 80 for Brady premiere earlier this year. And now in the ad, what do you guys think? Why are we hating on someone for getting Botox? If this was a woman, would the story be different? Rob, our camera guy, why do you hate Tom Brady so much?
I think, why can't he get Botox?
But why? What if we made up a nickname for a woman who got Botox?
Like Botox Betty?
No, like a real woman, you know what I mean?
Jeff, I'll tell you this. I think those are men going after
Betty's not Betty who?
There's plenty of Bettys.
There's a lot of Bettys.
They didn't call him Botox Ted, and his name's Tom.
I think
Let's stick to the story.
I think those are men that are insecure because men, it's coming. We're starting to see advertisements for men wearing makeup. We're starting to see men. I've had Botox before. You and I went together a couple seasons ago.
Botox.
I would get it together. I would get it again. I just haven't recently. But I just think that there's this thing where inside of every guy, like, I can't put on. Yeah, why not, bro? You look way better. I'll tell you, you look way better.
But what about the society's stigma of getting made fun of as a man?
Well, women get made fun of plenty.
What are you laughing about?
Women get made fun of plenty when they get too much Botox. I mean,
we don't call them names. If I dared call like J-Lo a name for getting Botox and I made up a funny one, meeting.
How many times have we had stories where people say, "Oh gosh, what happened to Charlize Theron's face? What happened to?"
Once a week we could do one.
But we don't make up a nickname for them.
No, you don't. But you're still criticizing.
And
the way
in that case, I think it's women. I don't think it's guys like Jeff going after Charlize Theron. I think it's
probably
women. And I think it's men going after Tom Brady.
Your point's well taken.
I don't think so. That was a little sarcastic and altruistic.
No, I
Coming
knew it
up
was
on
sarcastic.
DBL, our interview with, we're going to talk about this in the break because I don't know what you're laughing at. Our interview with comedian Tom Arnold. He's telling us about his new show and what he thinks about Roseanne these days. And the Rolling Stones are still rocking. Mick the old guy. Oh! We're going to talk about the Rolling Stones next. That looks cool. Oh, that's you, though. Sorry. Oh, so, Erica, what were you laughing about?
I don't know. I was just laughing the whole time.
I said you can't make fun of women. Like, you can't give a nickname to a woman that gets a lot of makeup done. Or at least one time, right?
Well, no, I think it was the way you were saying, because you were like, Jeff does this thing where he will intertwine sarcasm with what he's really thinking with what's happening. So it's like this, it's this constant weaving.
true. It's
So
true.
I'm like laughing because there's parts of it that he's very serious about, but then there's these nuanced parts where he's totally not, and it's hilarious.
Yes, it's hard not to laugh.
And that's what I laugh at.
Me too.
So that's what happened.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't care that people
No,
call him
that's what I
Botox
know.
Brady.
That's
Yeah,
I know that he doesn't care.
I'm just
But he
bringing
brought
up
up he brought up a point, which okay, we could talk about that point. I'll acknowledge that point. But then when he does that, like, and why doesn't?
Yeah.
And what if we did that to women? I'm like, you
It's
are
true.
so not serious right now.
No, I am true about that. There's different rules for different players. Listen, let's just put it out there. Everyone's got a different set of rules.
Yeah. If you're rich, like, you know, it always hit me, and like, not to take this to a dark place, but like, all the jokes about those people that died in that sub, like all the meat, and like, I was like, because they're rich, you can make fun of the fact that an 18-year-old died with his dad.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it's so weird that there are people, if you're considered rich and attractive, you can take shots.
Welcome back, Sam. I know you're pumped about this next story.
Love this band. Probably my all-time favorite band.
Really?
All time.
Well, good news, Sam. Nirvana is re-releasing their album In Utero 30 years after its original release. The album that came out back in 1993 will be re-released as a deluxe album with 72 tracks, including 53 songs of unreleased music. How is that possible? And 2 concerts. Speaking of new music, the Rolling Stones sat down with Jimmy Fallon in London to talk about their new album called Hackney Diamonds, which will be released in October. Mick Jagger, who is 80, explained why they're releasing their first album in 18 years now. Take a look.
We didn't want to make just any record and put it out. So we wanted to make a record. Before we went in, we all said, we've got to make a record that we really love ourselves. Other people may like it, other people may not. But we must say that we are quite pleased with it.
You've got to keep your fingers moving when you get to our age.
Yeah.
Keep everything moving. Realize what I mean.
You got them down. Keep everything moving.
Shake it out. Shake it out.
And we also got to see the new video for the song Angry. Let's have a look.
Ooh,
You like that?
I liked that. That sounded like the Sex Pistols. That was like a good throwback.
I could do without new music from the Rolling Stones. They got enough jams, but I'm serious. Let's go back to Nirvana.
Wow.
Nirvana.
What do you mean? They got 53 new songs. What do you mean, what about them?
I'm very excited, but if you watch like the documentaries and some of his journals, he was always writing. So I'm not surprised that they have 53 additional new songs. So
That waited this long to come out?
maybe that was the band's way of
I think that
respecting
might be
it.
contractual things
Yeah,
as well.
did they have to?
You remember when Prince, famously he wrote "slave" on his cheek and he changed his name to a symbol?
Yes.
I didn't realize until I got older that was all contractual stuff, and that these record labels would control how many albums you were even able to release. So
And when.
and when. So if you're a prolific songwriter, they'll still take you and shelve you as a way to control like how much money you make and things like, so they can keep you under one thumb. So I think a lot of these contracts, we're just starting to see some of these major artists get out from under.
There was always controversy with Courtney Love running his estate. So I don't know if his daughter is now running the estate, or I don't know how and why they made this decision this many years later. That's a good point. I'm actually going to look into it.
But what a gift.
I know, I can't wait. I'm
what
so excited.
buried treasures.
I know. Love Kurt
great.
Cobain. May he rest in peace.
I'm always worried though.
With what?
When it's posthumously released. I
Yeah,
always wonder
would
if that's what the artist wanted.
That's a great point, because would he have wanted those songs released? There's a reason why he never released them. That's
Right.
a great point. I still want to hear him.
We're done officially?
Yes, we're
All right,
done.
we'll be
Okay.
right back.
Yep.
Thinking about cracking open a cold one? Wait just 1 second. Viral posts claim an alcohol czar with the Biden administration wants to limit how much beer Americans can drink. The topic even made it into a White House press briefing.
Does President Biden want to limit Americans to 2 beers a week?
Michael submitted a question on our website asking us to verify the alleged Biden beer ban. So let's verify. Has the government recommendation on alcohol consumption changed to 2 drinks per week? Our sources are the U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans, Canada's Guidelines on Alcohol and Health, and the Daily Mail interview with Dr. George Koob, director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. First off, believe it or not, there are guidelines for how much alcohol the government thinks Americans should drink. The current guidelines on alcohol consumption were set by the United States Department of Agriculture in the 1990s. The USDA recommends 1 drink or less per day for women and 2 drinks or less for men. That's up to 7 drinks a week for women and 14 for men. Every 5 years, the agency has the opportunity to update its recommendations when it publishes the U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans. The next report is set to be published in 2025. So we can verify, no, the recommendation on alcohol consumption hasn't changed to 2 drinks per week. So, where did the Biden beer ban rumors start? In a recent interview with British tabloid The Daily Mail, Dr. George Koob, director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, was asked whether he thought the guidance on alcohol consumption in the U.S. could change. He said if the U.S. were going to make a change, it'd be closer to Canadian guidelines, which suggest people consume 2 alcoholic drinks or less per week. But just to be clear, the guidelines aren't actual rules or restrictions on how much booze Canadians or Americans can drink. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. Tom Arnold is one of the most unforgettable faces in comedy and has a shady studio executive in the new show Underdeveloped. He's putting the low back in low budget. Earlier we spoke with him and he was actually watching some of our show before we started. Take a look.
Please welcome back to the show, Tom Arnold.
Hey, first of all, I have to say, I gotta watch this show. First, there was all the celebrities at Beyonce, and then you had the most thoughtful discussion about adults marrying children and racism and anti-Semitism. It's crazy. You guys are, I'm blown away.
Oh my God! Thank you so much,
Chris, you're going to clip that for our sizzle reel? Okay, he's on it. Yes, Tom Arnold.
It is a pleasure to have you on,
Wow.
Tom. Let's talk about your show, because this new show, Underdeveloped, is about a bunch of failed producers all working together, and it's full of nepotism and incompetence. So how close to reality is this show?
It's very close to reality, because I play a guy that runs a studio that is greedy and yeah, what I like about it is shot in the like The Office was shot, you know, that, and a bunch of fun people. But what I like is my guy, Bert. I think you have a Bert there too.
Yeah, Bert.
For 100 years, my guy Bert, he'll say to people, to the guys that work for him, listen, you're not going to get paid, and you're not going to get credit, but you're my guy, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
Other people get credit for your work. Then other people get the big paychecks, but you're my guy.
Now, I have to ask you, like, looking at this story and just kind of look at the show overall, did you pull or base a character off of anybody that you've met over the years?
Oh, man, I've met so many people like that. There's different degrees of people. There's some people, as we know from Hollywood, that are just maniacs. You know, they're kind of getting rid of them now. And eventually all the studios will be run by women, because that's the only way to stay out of trouble. But, yeah, it sold me a lot of crap that that I was like, wow, this is how it's done in Hollywood. And it's really, there's a lot of great people in it, too, that are legit. That are honest with you, but it's more fun to be one of the terrible people.
So, Tom, we got to talk about Roseanne. We got to get your thoughts on it, because she's kind of leaning in to this new era, and she's saying stuff that kind of, leaves us scratching our heads. She always has, right? That's what makes her Roseanne. But how do you react to all this? How are you seeing her?
Well, first of all, she hasn't always been this version of Roseanne. When I met her, she was the most... I'd never met a feminist. I came from the meatpacking plant in Iowa, and we met in 1983 in the Midwest doing stand-up comedy. I'm like, I'd never seen a woman like that. I'd never seen a person like that, She was a little bit older than me. She was a mom, but she was very liberal and called herself a feminist, and she's taken a big swing the other way. But I think, here's the thing. She was a great comedian. There's no doubt about it. And the show was great. I got to work on it 6 years. It was one of the best jobs I've had in my life. And I think that sometimes when people get older, maybe me too, you go a little bit different direction because you're looking for an audience. And now I think she's just trolling people, trying to get responses. But she's out there. She's over here and I'm over here. And I got 4 ex-wives, so she's not even... my worst ex-wife. So
Okay, so you may have had multiple ex-wives, but you also have been through multiple industry strikes, and you're actually one of the few actors that can promote their new projects because it's independently produced. How do you see things shaking out with the studios, writers, and actors?
Well, I moved here in 1988 to write the Roseanne Show, and immediately we had a writer's strike, and I had to scramble, like you're talking about, finding a way. I booked this video, this comedy video, which I was not naked, but other people were. I didn't even realize it. It's like softcore porn. By the way, I want to find that video. I thought we were getting somewhere a week ago, and then the studios did a thing, but it has a process. It will get worked out. It's an important strike because of all the artificial intelligence and all the streaming stuff. We get this worked out for all the young people. The guys that run the studios got $100 million bonuses last year, so they must not be doing too bad. So just pay us a fair amount. We'll meet in the middle, and we'll settle this.
Well said. I love the blue nails, too. I dig it. DBL Nation B.
I'm a single dad with a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter, and this is how I got her to go to school today. So,
good for you.
That's what's up, Dad.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Love it. Well done. DBL Nation, be sure to check out Underdeveloped this Friday on Tubi. Thank you so much, Tom. Congratulations.
Congrats,
always
man.
A treat having you here. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thanks for the compliments.
I meant it.
With temperatures continuing in the 90s as we move into the fall, we know everybody is looking for ways to save a little money on your power bill. Most houses have something called an attic ventilation fan, but does running that system actually ventilate the attic and then in turn save you money on your power bill? Let's verify. Our sources are Christian Kaltrider, an energy efficiency researcher at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, a U.S. Department of Energy lab, and Kenny Wardlaw, a heating and cooling specialist with more than 40 years of experience. First, let's understand how an attic fan is supposed to work.
Often they're installed because people want to remove heat in the summertime. Attics get really hot. You think, if I can remove that heat, then I'll get less heat conducting down into my living space.
But in a warm, moist climate, experts say that's not what happens.
It does not cool the house. It actually increases the cooling load on the house.
Wardlaw says bringing humid air in can create other problems in your home, like mold.
The hotter the air is, the more moisture it can hold. And so if you bring hot air into the house and it cools down, then you get condensation, which leads to mold.
U.S. Department of Energy research shows the energy used to run the fan is more than the energy saved.
Beyond the power consumption of an attic ventilation fan is the concern that it causes or create a negative pressure zone in the attic. And that negative pressure zone can pull air-conditioned, cooled air from the living space into the attic. And that air has to be replaced, so it's replaced by hot, moist, outside air.
Call Writer says if you want to save money, add insulation and air seal the attic floor. So we can verify, no, turning on the attic ventilation fan during hot weather will not save you money on your electric bill. With your Verify, I'm Andrea Mock.
The road out of the Burning Man Festival is finally open. Just days ago, rain poured down on the nearly 80,000 people attending the multi-day gathering in the Black Rock Desert, about 110 miles north of Reno, Nevada. Miles of festival grounds turned into mud, leaving festival goers trapped and worried about dwindling supplies. In the days after the storm, posts claiming to show footage of the poor conditions at the festival went viral. One claims to show footage of a Jeep stuck in the mud. The other claims to show a model walking through the mud during a fashion show at the festival. But is this footage really from Burning Man? Let's verify using these sources. First up, using Google Lens, we traced this video back to an Instagram post from August 15th, 12 days before Burning Man started in Nevada. So we can verify, no, this video does not show a Jeep stranded in the mud at Burning Man. Next up, using Google Lens, we verified that this is footage of a real fashion show, but it isn't recent and it didn't happen at Burning Man. The footage was originally posted to YouTube in October of 2022 and shows footage from designer Balenciaga's fashion show during Paris Fashion Week. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. If you're thinking about selling your car soon, we've got some tips to increase your vehicle's value. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. First up, avoid aftermarket modifications like audio systems and spoilers. These could depreciate your car's overall value. Next, try to keep mileage down. If you are taking a lengthy road trip, it might be worthwhile to get a rental car instead. Lastly, maintenance is key. Shoppers want a vehicle they can rely on, and if you haven't kept detailed records of maintenance and repairs, they'll be less likely to trust you as a seller, especially if you got a spoiler on there. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call today at 800-687-1821. Enough about spoilers. Spoiler alert, it's my son's birthday.
Yeah.
I want to wish him a very happy 5th birthday to our big boy. He's on the left there in the blue shirt. I can't believe he's 5.
On his face.
Wow, that's amazing, huh?
Just like his mama.
So cute and unique. He loves Wednesday Addams. And
yeah.
That's what you have to say about his
He's super gothic.
We've been doing this show longer than he's been alive.
Oh my
Happy birthday, buddy. I love you.
Wow.